Bonsoir les garçons, bonsoir les filles de 3e année, j'espère que vous allez bien. On revient toujours avec une nouvelle leçon. Aujourd'hui, on a une nouvelle leçon de grammaire. We have a lesson of grammar. We are still dealing with the same unit. The title of the unit, se situer. Se situer means to be situated or to be placed in something or located, okay? I have told you before that se situer est un verbe, it's a verb. Okay, in grade 2, you have studied many verbs like jouer, parler. This year, in the first semester, we have studied le verbe aller. Okay, so we have seen until now 3 verbs. This is the 4th one. This one is different. Can you tell me how this one is different? I will write for you the verbs that you have studied before. Okay, the ones that we studied in grade 1, 2 and 3. We have studied le verbe jouer, which means to play. We have studied parler, which means to speak. Okay, this year in the first semester we have studied le verbe aller, which means to go. Okay, so we have these 3 verbs. Before talking about the difference between this and this, let's talk about the similar things. All the verbs, these verbs, they end with what? They end with 2 letters. What are these 2 letters? They end with ER. Okay? They end with ER. Very good. Now, let's move to the different thing. This is 1 word. Okay, and this is 2. Right? This one, it doesn't contain these. Don't contain, sorry, so, and this one starts with so. Today, we are going to talk about this kind of verbs. The verbs that start with se, S-E, and they end with ER. Of course, they end with ER here because it is a verb of the first group, okay? The verbs that start or they end with ER, they are verbs of the first group, except this one, except Ali, which is irregular, but this is something we have already seen before. So today's lesson is about les verbes qui commencent par se, the verbs that starts with se. Okay, let's move to the second page. Donc voilà, these kind of verbs, they are called les verbes pronominaux. So what are les verbes pronominaux? How do I know them first? Les verbes pronominaux, they start with SE or S apostrophe. I will show you after what is S apostrophe and why. Okay? So they start with se. For example, I have se situer, and also for today's lesson, I have chosen for you another verb, which is se coucher. Le verbe se coucher. Se coucher. What does it mean, se coucher? It is verb to go to bed or to go to sleep. So I have pour les verbes pronominaux, they start with SE, okay? They are 2 words together in one verb, different from this kind of verbs, okay? And I have se coucher, which means verb to go to bed or to go to sleep. Of course, I gave you an example, se coucher or se situer, but we have plenty of them, and we have only one rule for all of the verb. So you study se coucher or se situer or another verb, it's the same rule, okay? So, on a dit que les verbes pronominaux, they are the verbs that start with se or S apostrophe, okay? Comme for example, I have se situer et se coucher. Do they have a noun like this, similar thing in English? Yes, they do. How do we call them in English? We call them the reflexive verbs. Donc, les verbes pronominaux en français, we say les verbes pronominaux et on dit un verbe pronominal. One verb, we say about it pronominal, and many verbs, we say pronominaux. How do we call them in English? We call them reflexive verbs. Okay? Quelle est la définition? What is the definition in French? Then we are going to see the definition in English. La définition, c'est un verbe qui se conjugue avec un pronom supplémentaire qu'on appelle généralement le pronom réfléchi. Et on a l'impression que le sujet fait l'action sur lui-même. This is the definition in French. Let's see the definition in English. Reflexive verb, they are the same here. It's like I'm translating. The subject of a verb is the person or thing doing the verb. The object of the verb is the person or thing receiving the action of the verb. The verb is reflexive when the subject and the object are the same. For example, I wash myself. What is the subject here? I, the verb wash, and the object myself. This is what we call the pronom réfléchi. This is what I'm talking about. So when the subject and the object, they are the same person, here we are talking about reflexive verbs or les pronoms, or les verbes pronominaux in French. Okay? Les verbes pronominaux commencent par se ou s apostrophe. Exemple, j'ai se lever, se doucher, se coucher. This is my verb here, the one that we are going to study today. I have s'aimer et s'habiller. What is the difference between these and these? Here, le verbe aimer, which is to love, by the way. Aimer, it starts with a vowel, and E is a vowel, right? So here, two vowels in French, no, it doesn't work. So here, when we have two vowels, I just omit the first one and put apostrophe. You are going to tell me that le H n'est pas une voyelle. The H is not a vowel. Yes, it's not a vowel, it's a consonant. But in French, le H, il est muet, it is silent. I don't pronounce it. So it is considered like a vowel. This is why when my verb starts with a vowel or H, I put S apostrophe and not se. But this is not our lesson. I repeat, all what you need to know is that les verbes pronominaux, they start with se or S apostrophe. Okay? Before we start conjugating the verb, we are going to review les pronoms personnels. We have to review the personal pronouns. So we have je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il avec S, elle avec S. Normally the S in French is not pronounced, but we say il avec S, elle avec S to make the difference between the singular one and the plural one. Je, it is I, tu, it is you, il, elle, he, she, nous, it's we, vous, you in the plural, and they have said or explained why we have two you in French. Et on a il avec S, elle avec S, it's they. Il avec S, it's for boys or for boys and girls, and elle avec S, it's only for girls. Okay? So, after reviewing les pronoms personnels, let's move to the lesson. I will give you the exam, se coucher, and I will give you les pronoms personnels, the exam, the quiz, homework, whatever. I ask you to conjugate le verbe se coucher with the pronouns. Okay? You are going to do this into 3 steps. The first one, the first thing that I am going to get rid of it is se coucher and le ER à la fin. I get rid of se and ER. Why? Because it is the mark of the infinitive. In French, I do this. In English, if I give you the translation of the verb, it is to go to sleep. Okay? And I give you I